Greetings, welcome to 3D Lanes number 22. I am Danny Lanes, and this time we will be talking about film, photographic film, how it was born, meaning created, who invented it, what was the need or that this, the why this invention came about, how it became a business commodity, first companies to sell it, how it could have been saved or kept relevant after digital was developed, its resurgence and current impact, and shortfalls and possible improvements. So this one might be a little long, so I'll start right away. Try to keep them under 30 minutes, so we'll see. Hopefully, I can achieve that today. Let's start with innovation to Renaissance, and photographic film was follow it has followed a remarkable trajectory. And sorry, I was having some technical difficulties with the microphone, but it reached almost obsolescence in the late 19th century when the digital cameras came about, and then it experienced an unexpected revival in recent years. And this renaissance has been driven mainly by younger generations seeking the unique aesthetic and the tangible experience that film provides. Despite facing significant challenges in supply chains and manufacturing capacity, the film market is projected to grow at a rate of 4 to 5% annually through 2031, demonstrating film's enduring appeal in an increasing digital world. This report, or this episode, basically examines the complete life cycle of photographic film, its creation, how it became commercial, its decline and resurgence, while exploring its current state and future prospects. The birth of flexible film. So at the beginning, it was not the film as we know it. It was not flexible plastic or plastic paper. Before this type of film, the one that we currently know, uh, there were some glass plates that were used, and photography was a cumbersome art, and it was basically restricted to professionals and amateurs, or dedicated amateurs, better said. And the earliest methods utilize rigid surfaces coated with light sensitive materials. By the mid of the 19th century, glass plates became the standard medium, and it provided excellent clarity, but it had challenges, right? Because um, it was very cumbersome because it was heavy. It was the equipment was pretty big, and let's remember this name, George Eastman. But when George Eastman planned a Caribbean vacation in 1878, his camera was the size of a microwave, and the chemicals and supplies needed for development were also pretty cumbersome. Photographers needed to transport heavy equipment and these fragile glass plates and an array of chemicals for immediate on site development. So, this is not something that you're going to send to a lab, you have to develop your own. This complexity created a clear market need for innovation and to create a simpler, more portable photographic medium accessible to ordinary people. Let's move to Hannibal Goodwin's revolutionary invention. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Reverend Hannibal Goodwin, an Episcopal priest, and he was also an amateur photographer in Newark, New Jersey, became frustrated with the limitations of existing photographic methods. And while searching for suitable Bible pictures for his Sunday school classes, he decided that he had had enough. So uh, finding glass plate photography, it was way too cumbersome, and he was dissatisfied with other solutions that he had at the time. So he began experimenting in his attic, that also played as a laboratory. That was his personal lab. And in the late 1870s, Goodwin developed a method for creating transparent, flexible roll film using nitrocellulose, also known as celluloid. And his process involved dissolving the nitrocellulose in nitrobenzyl, uh, diluting the thick mixture with alcohol, pouring the solution onto glass, allowing the solvents to evaporate, leaving a flexible film, and then coating the resulting film with photosensitive emulsion. And this innovation provided a critical alternative to rigid glass plates. Goodwin then he filed a patent application for his transparent sensitive pellicle in 1887, setting the stage for a transformation in photography. Let's go back to George Eastman. While Reverend Goodwin was working in his invention, George Eastman was simultaneously pursuing similar technology. Eastman had founded the Eastman Dry Plate Company in 1880, which later would become Eastman Kodak, and recognized the enormous commercial potential of flexible film. In 1888, he introduced rolls of photographic film. Through these early versions, were made of paper rather than plastic. In 1889, Eastman's chemist, Henry Reichenbach, developed a formula for flexible film similar to what Reverend Goodwin had, but he had an additional ingredient, camphor. Reichenbach filed a patent application in April 1889, so 2 years after the Reverend had done it, which was approved in December of that year. Okay, so it got filed in 89, but it was also approved in 89. This approval coming before Goodwin's patent was granted would lead to one of photography's most significant legal battles, the epic patent battle. The similar timing and approach of Goodwin's and Eastman's innovation created a classic patent dispute. While Eastman quickly commercialized this flexible film-based, the flexible film that was based on Reichenbach's patent, Goodwin's application, it kind of got stuck in the patent office for 11 years, and it was because he had to go multiple revisions to clarify the claims that he was making. When Goodwin finally received his patent in 1898, so it was filed in 1887, Goodwin's was approved in 1889. So, sorry. Eastman was approved in 1889. Sorry, and finally, Reverend Goodwin received his patent 1898. 11 years later, he established the Goodwin Film and Camera, Goodwin Film and Camera Company, and prepared to challenge Eastman Kodak for patent infringement. George Eastman dismissed his claims, saying that there's nothing in the story of Reverend Goodwin. His patent has no importance, and nonetheless, Kodak had a potential vulnerability. The company had modified the production method over time, and he was moving closer to Reverend Goodwin's formula. Well, tragically, Reverend Goodwin died in the last day of 1900, leaving his widow Rebecca to continue the legal battle. The legal battle, sorry. She sold the company to Anthony and Scoville, later named Ansco, and they pursued still the case against Eastman Kodak. The legal battle dragged until August 1913, when the U.S. District Court ruled in favor of Goodwin's patent. The court determined that while there might be minor imperfections in Reverend Goodwin's patent, they did not affect its validity. and no one before Goodwin had used a specific method for creating flexible film. So, in March 1914, more than 25 years after Goodwin's original application, an appeals court affirmed the ruling. Ansco collected slightly more than $5 million from Eastman Kodak, about 5% of George Eastman's net worth, plus approximately $300,000 from other manufacturers. This landmark case established Goodwin's place in photographic history and demonstrated the commercial value of film technology. The golden age of film photography. And despite the patent battle, Eastman Kodak dominated the photographic market throughout most of the 20th century. And by the early 1900s, Kodak manufactured approximately 80% of the flexible films sold in America. Eastman's genius, it was not just in the technical innovation, but also in the marketing approach that he had to business. His famous slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest," it was basically his whole vision of making photography accessible for everybody. The first Kodak camera, introduced in 1888, came preloaded with enough film for 100 exposures, meaning 100 pictures. After taking the pictures, customers would send the entire camera back to Kodak's factory, where they would take out the film, they would develop it, they would print it, and then they would send the camera reloaded with fresh film to the users so they can, do it again. This approach dramatically simplified photography for consumers. It eliminated the need for technical knowledge about chemicals and development. Photography transformed from a specialized technical skill to something that even a child could do. That's a direct quote. The original nitrocellulose film was highly flammable, so this is something that had to be improved. This created serious safety concerns. Kodak introduced the quote-unquote safety film made of cellulose acetate in 1908. But due to nitrate film being tougher, more transparent, and cheaper, safety film didn't completely replace the flammable version until 1951. So it took around some 40-something years for the takeover to finalize. Color photography represented another major advancement. While early color films appeared in the 1930s, they initially produced overly dark images. In 1936, Kodak introduced the Kodachrome, which utilized the subtractive color method to create more natural-looking color images. This innovation helped cement film's dominance in both professional and consumer photography for decades to come. The digital revolution and film's decline. The advent of digital photography in the late 20th century presented an existential challenge to photographic film. Digital technology offered immediate image review, chimping, eliminated development costs, allowed for virtually unlimited exposures, and simplified image sharing and manipulation. And as digital cameras improve in quality and decrease in price, consumer preference shifted dramatically. By the early 2000s, film sales were declining quickly, forcing companies to adapt. Kodak, despite having invented the first digital camera in 1975, failed to pivot effectively to the new technology. And as noted by F-Stoppers, this is an article called "Growth Strategy and Future Prospects of Kodak." The company faced numerous challenges in recent years in adapting to the digital age. Fujifilm, on the other hand, was smart enough to pivot a little better, and they diversified beyond photography. The company leveraged its expertise in chemicals and materials science, expanding into new industries such as healthcare, biotech, and advanced materials. These strategic adaptation allowed Fuji to remain viable while Kodak struggled. By 2015, the situation for film had become so dire that Leica, and this is a direct quote, this is from Digital Camera World, the The article is called 900% Increase in Film Camera Sales in Just 8 Years. Uh, the film situation had become so dire that Leica thought about throwing everything away because we were only producing 500 film cameras per year. That is crazy. In 2015, Leica was only making 500 film cameras per year. Film photography appeared to be on an inevitable path to extinction, and it was basically relegated to niche markets and specialty applications. Film's unexpected renaissance. Despite the predictions of film dying, recent years have witnessed a remarkable revival of interest in analog photography. According to the same article from uh, Digital Camera World, Leica experienced a massive 900% increase in film camera sales from 2015 to 2023, growing from 500 film cameras annually to 5,000. These film cameras now account for 30% of all Leica rangefinder sales. That's crazy. The broader market data also shows general positive trends. The global photographic film market was valued at 2.86 billion US dollars in 2024. It is projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 5% to reach 4.03 billion by 2031. Another estimate values the market at 2.69 billion USD in 2023 and projected to reach 3.54 billion by 2031, with a compound annual growth rate of 4.3%. So either way, it looks like the trend is upwards. Some regional data indicates that North America holds the largest market share, approximately 40%, followed by Europe 30%, Asia Pacific 23%, Latin America 5%, and Middle East and Africa 2%. And we can note that Asia Pacific is projected to have the highest growth rate at 7% of compound annual growth rate, with India leading at an impressive 8.8% of compound annual growth rate. Driving factors behind the revival, we can list youth adoption and social media influence. The film revival among younger generations who have grown in digital world is significant. Old cameras like the Nikon F3, Canon AE1, and Pentax K1000 are more common to be seen out and about. Social media has played a crucial role in the revival. There's subcultures on Instagram and I guess TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but they're devoted to shooting with film and sharing their photos. The grainy retro look of the shots and hashtags like film is not dead with like 25 million posts, it's pretty significant. This online community has created a feedback loop that reinforces interest in film photography. There's a unique aesthetic and tangible experience. Many photographers are drawn to film's distinctive look and tangible nature. And film offers unique grain patterns and color. You can do recipes with digital, but it's never completely the same. Professional artistic applications. The film revival isn't limited to casual photographers. There's a resurgence of interest in vintage and analog photography, especially within creative industries such as fashion, advertising, and fine arts. Professional photographers and artists value film for its nostalgic appeal and distinctive aesthetic qualities, particularly in fashion, music videos, and editorial photography. New product development. The renewed interest has spurred new product development. In 2024, Pentax released the Pentax 17. The Pentax 17 is the first truly new mass produce manual winding 35mm film camera in quite some time. That's how it's described, and it's basically a half frame camera. So it's a 35mm film camera that shoots half frame. So instead of having the full photo that you would have on a regular 35mm camera, you can have two from on the same space, which gives you, instead of like 36 exposures or 36 photos, you can get 72, which is great. Similarly, Fujifilm has introduced new instant cameras, such as the Instax Mini Evo, which combines digital and analog features to appeal to contemporary users. This product innovation suggests that film photography is definitely not dead. Current challenges and limitations: supply constraints and rising costs. And despite the growing demand, the film photography industry faces significant challenges. And as manufacturers scale back film production during digital's rise, um, the current capacity is insufficient to meet renewed interest. And according to this article from F-Stoppers, film photography sees surprise renaissance among young. Uh, just as film demand is hitting a fever pitch, there's a lot of supply constraints that threaten the comeback of film photography. Fuji has been unable to fulfill orders amid global raw material shortages. There are supply constraints that have driven substantial price increases. Uh, for example, from this same article, um, 5 years ago, what you would see, and by the way, this article is from 2 years ago, 2023. Uh, you would see. So let's see, 2 years ago. So that's 7 years. 7 years ago, a roll of Fujifilm Superior Extra would be $5. 2 years ago, it would be 15 to $20 if you could find it in stock. I think the supply is a little better now, but there's still a lot of shortages on a lot of kind of like special films, kind of like the Lomo Purple. That one is really hard to find, at least for me. Not all the stocks are always available. There's a technical knowledge gap uh, from with this current generation. Sorry, this is moving to the next item on the list. Um, with this generation growing entirely in digital, there's a knowledge gap regarding the handling of the film, exposure techniques, and development process. There's a lot of people now picking it up. You can see a lot of double exposures and stuff like that in social media. But a lot of new film photographers, they need to learn the skills that were once really common knowledge, and like how to load film, right? Not everybody knows it, and depending from camera to camera, you might encounter issues like I have before. Manual focus, calculate exposure without the feedback from a digital camera, and potentially develop and print your own images. That requires some learning. Future outlook and potential improvements. Uh, to sustain the film revival, manufacturers must address supply constraints, increase investment in production capacity, could help meet demand and potentially lower prices through economies of scale. Companies like Kodak and Fujifilm have the technical expertise to expand production, provided they see sufficient long-term market potential. But I think that's still yet to be seen. I know, yes, the resurgence is there, but how is it gonna stay? Is it gonna be sustainable? Is it just a trend? Environmental sustainability. Traditional film photography involves chemical processes that can have environmental impacts, and developing more environmentally sustainable film products and processing methods could appeal to environmentally conscious consumers and ensure film's compatibility with growing sustainability concerns. Digital analog integration, creating better bridges between analog and digital photography, um, as improved scanning services, hybrid cameras, or film stocks optimized for digital scanning could make film more accessible to digital native photographers. This integration would preserve film's unique qualities while accommodating modern workflows. That's I don't know why nobody has done it yet, but it's an idea. Educational resources and community building. Expanding educational resources and community support for new film photographers could help bridge the knowledge gap. Although there's a lot of communities nowadays, there's a lot of photo walks, but just keeping those up to date and live would help uh, expand and keep film alive. Niche market positioning. While film will likely remain smaller than digital photography, it can thrive as a premium experiential medium. And by positioning film as a complementary rather than competitive medium to digital, manufacturer can sustain a viable market focus on quality and unique experience rather than mass market dominance. Final thoughts. This I see a lot of similarities from this development of film to stuff like watches, right? Uh, More so quartz watches and automatic or manual watches. Nowadays we have an abundance of everything, but it was believed that quartz was gonna kill mechanical watches, but it didn't happen. The same thing has happened with between digital and film photography. Uh, Definitely, film has made a resurgence, and there's definitely challenges like cost and demand of film that need to be overcome. But film's still alive, and yeah, film's not dead. That's true. If you haven't or you don't shoot film, and you like photography, right? If I would invite you to try it out. It makes you think a little more, be more mindful of every shot that you take. Uh, yeah, the return of everything analog is somehow appreciated. A lot of times, analog can help us understand why automatic um, processes or more automated processes are what they are or how they are. How can they be improved? Yeah, it's really interesting. This story kind of repeats between industries. It's interesting. Well, this is it for today. I am hitting the 28th minute mark. So I appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next week. Bye.